Calm down. Donnie, calm down.
We're not live yet?
We're live right now.
Oh, I'm super excited to be here. If
As
you can
you should be.
tell,
I am too, man. We get a chance to do something that nobody does or even thought of doing.
nobody has thought of doing
No
this,
one
but
told us.
I kind of see that there are people who are thinking of trying to come into our space.
Oh, 100%. Anytime
They're
you
trying
do
to come
so,
into our space. They're like,
anytime
no.
you you know what I was thinking too? If you are doing something that nobody copies, the thing that you're doing isn't even worth doing.
It's whack.
It's whack. Nobody likes it. So
It's super whack.
I'm excited about our guest today because I'm like, when they was telling me, I'm like, dang, we need to do that.
Yeah,
So
for
they're
sure.
cool. So
For sure.
Dottie, first off, um, you want to introduce yourself before we get started?
Yes, I am Donnie Wiggins, the business coach extraordinaire, also co host with my brother David Shands of both the Brain Picker podcast and the Social Proof podcast.
Facts.
We are super duper uber excited to be here. And David, what you got?
Oh, I am David Chance. I am an entrepreneur that not only teaches entrepreneurship, but I'm still entrepreneurial. Okay, we're
Yeah,
still building stuff. Me and
yeah.
Dottie don't just teach it; we are still currently building businesses, and then we come back to our community and just teach them what we're going through and what we're doing, all the trials, tribulations, ups and downs. So I worked at the Cheesecake Factory for 6 years and became a full time entrepreneur in 2012 and been creating full time entrepreneurs ever since.
Oh, so we're doing the bio rundown.
Uh,
I'm gonna let you have that. But you know what I think is super dope? I think it was today, maybe yesterday, I was on Instagram and I saw you post that you don't just teach something that you've never done, you actually practice what you preach,
that's
right? We both do. And I think that that's why the synergy is so strong between the two of us and we're able to deliver and really help people because we're coming from a place where we don't teach what we haven't done. Like these just aren't theories that we've read about in books. And if there is something sometimes, some type of feedback that we give that we hadn't done, we disclose that. Like, well, I heard that this is something you can try, but we've not done it. We typically, for the most part, only teach what we have actually practiced. So
absolutely. So let's jump into this thing, man. You ready to introduce our guest?
I am ready. There is just a little bit of a hint of feedback coming in. Do you
Little
hear
bit
that?
of feedback. Maybe it
It's like a little
is
scratch.
our guest. How y'all doing? Is that y'all mic sounding like that?
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Do
But
you guys have a mic connected,
let's
an
see.
external mic connected?
Yeah, do you have a microphone connected?
It's not connected right now. No,
No?
I
Maybe.
disconnected. It was having sound issues.
Okay.
Huh.
Well, it's not
Okay,
there
there
anymore.
are people in the chat saying they hear it too, but we'll try to work through it. Oh, I do hear it
That's
here.
your mic, Donnie.
It's not.
I think well, let's see. All right, mute your mic real quick. Mute your mic. So for those that is your mic muted, Donnie? Okay. All right, do you guys hear it? No, right? Okay. Unmute your mic, Donnie. No, it's your mic. Unmute it. Unmute
I
your
did.
mic. You did? All right. Well, you got to start talking. We'll get through this. Okay. I'm not that was it. It's okay.
It's
We are
not
gonna
me.
get through this because it's not really bad. So, all right. So we have our guests who have a school. It's elementary school. Yes.
No, K through 12.
K through 12. Oh, so it's like elementary, middle, and
Yes,
high
sir.
school all in one.
Yes, sir.
That's really dope. So we're gonna let you introduce yourself. Go for it.
All right. I am Brother Henry, one of the co-founders with my wife here of Kika First Entrepreneurial Academy.
I'm Sister Keyshawn. I'm the woman behind the man that helps run the school.
All right. You are the woman behind the man that runs the school. But it's your name.
This is true.
Is that right?
Yes.
So how did this school start? How did it come about?
I guess the short version is we owned a beauty supply store and we had space above our beauty supply store we would rent out for events. And we realized we weren't making money Monday through Thursday because nobody would rent it. and especially in the daytime. So we were looking for an avenue to generate more revenue with this space we had. We thought about doing a school, but schools are very expensive, so we turned that idea down. And then we fast forwarded into the future. We found a way that we could operate a school without having teachers. So because our school
Hold on,
started
hold on,
off
hold
in the
on. You
first,
found a way to operate a school without having teachers.
yes, sir.
Hmm.
I'm interested. Keep going. Keep going.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir. So for the first 2 years, we did not have teachers, right? It's kind of, if you think like Montessori, the students come into school, they get customized, individualized education, and they work at their own pace. And so we were able to create this environment and foster kindergarten all the way through high school because we didn't have teachers, and that freed us up to be able to offer all these other incentives. So entrepreneurship, which is the basis of the school. Every student has to start a small business that generates revenue. Authorship, every student has to publish a minimum of one book a year. Of course, Black History year round. We had STEM, we had music, gym class, art, foreign language, computer science, and that allowed us to get in that period. So the school started off above our beauty supply store with my daughter, who is exceptional. She's brilliant. She'll graduate high school probably like 13 or 14.
Dang.
Um, yeah, she's not me when I was in school.
Ah,
she,
wow.
but this system that we were able to create, it allowed students to do more than one grade per year, right? So, for example, we have a little girl in California right now who in the first semester, she completed the first grade and the second grade. She just turned 7. And at the rate she's at, she'll probably complete third grade and fourth grade in this one school year, right? So we kind of had this system that could help address education. And so we went in with this idea of like revolutionizing education, but especially in our communities, we thought that if we could give entrepreneurship to people on the highest level, we could solve a lot of problems in our own community, right? So where you have the disenfranchised, when you have those who are in poverty, when you have the high crime rates, we were looking at a way where we could blend entrepreneurship into the curriculum itself, into the day-to-day operations, and make that the culture. And when children graduated, yes, they can go to college if they want to. Yes, they can get jobs if they want to. But now having your own business, having books, having speaking engagements, having those types of things is a way of life for them. And it's a third option, an alternative if college isn't for them, if they don't want to get a job at, McDonald's or Taco Bell or something. And the goal was to combat the drug dealers in the neighborhood, because if you have your own money, if you're making your own money, you have your own supply of, whatever you do for your business. When the drug dealer approaches our young people, well, the young person can now say, well, I got my own thing, so I don't need what you have, right? So it was a way of giving that to our children and building up the community at the same time. And so that's kind of where we came in at with the school, and everything else kind of fell into place as we were building it.
All
Wow.
right. So, you do have other teachers, yes?
We do this year.
So, how are you teaching K through 12 with just y'all two with different students and different ages?
So our curriculum is like our secret sauce,
Mm-hmm.
right? And our curriculum is what enables us to be able to have a classroom. For example, last year when it was just Brother Henry and myself, we had a classroom that was all boys, right? And our youngest student in that classroom was, I think, maybe in first or second grade. And then I had all the girls, and my youngest student in that classroom was actually in kindergarten. And then the oldest student in my classroom at that time was in seventh grade. So our curriculum is set up in such a way that I can manage all, what was it, almost 12 students in my classroom, and they're all working at different grade levels. And then they're also all working on different subjects, right? So we could come in and student A may be working on math, and student B may be working on science, and another one may be working on English. So that common core, right? That core curriculum that you expect a school to have, that part of the curriculum is what we don't need teachers for, right? And all the electives is where we came in as teachers, right? So Henry has been our entrepreneur teacher for the past 3 years, and I taught authorship. So entrepreneurship and authorship has been also a core of our school. and then we both kind of sprinkle Black history because we teach Black history all year round. So those specialized electives, we have a traditional teacher for. But as far as students walk in the hallways, they come in the classroom, they sit in the classroom, they face the teacher's desk, and now the teacher is talking about math or talking about English or talking about science. That doesn't happen. They still have their core curriculum, right? A student can graduate from Kieker's Entrepreneurial Academy and take their diploma and go to college anywhere in the world, right? They're still getting the core curriculum that you would expect a student to have, but we don't have, our curriculum doesn't require a teacher to give it to the student. They essentially, they're teaching it to themselves. And so reading, and it's interesting because I heard you talk about that this morning on the morning meetup day, and how important it is for people to read and how reading is so fundamental, is what you said. Reading is absolutely fundamental with our curriculum because once a student can read, then now they can teach themselves and learn on their own, right? So going back to the student that's in first grade, she can read on her own, right? So she doesn't have to sit in a classroom with 10 other first graders. Once she understands that I add this block to this block and that gives me two, she doesn't need to sit in the classroom with 10 other first graders who don't quite understand that concept. She can read it for herself, and now she can say, well, if I take 3 blocks and minus 1 block, now I got 2, right? So our curriculum does not require teachers ultimately.
So the way that I'm imagining this in my head is you mentioned that you had 12 students in your class. I am imagining that this works very similar to like a homeschooling platform,
Well,
except it's
we have
not necessarily homeschool. You're actually an accredited school, but it's self-paced learning.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
this year we jumped up to 100 students that enrolled at the beginning of the school year. So having the teachers became more of like needing supervisors, right? Because every teacher has their own elective, but then each teacher's role is more of supervisory to help students if they get stuck just because the numbers increase. But as long as the teacher to student ratio is like 1 to 10, 1 to 15, you can still manage the same system. Even like a homeschool network, you can manage that same system indefinitely as long as you have that ratio of teacher to students.
So what's the maximum number of students you all can have?
There's
I guess.
there's no maximum. So we want to keep a ratio of, like he said, somewhere between 1 to 10, 1 to 15, ideally. But if you have a group of well-behaved students and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, um, one teacher could manage 20, 30, 40 students at one time. But that would you would have to have a very well-behaved, very mature group of students. And so a big part of our teachers' responsibility is not necessarily educating on the core curriculum, right? They're educating on life skills, if you will, on money management, on entrepreneurship, on financial literacy, on being a better man in your community, right? For our
Okay.
girls, learning how to sew, learning how to cook. So we could maximize the number of students for that core curriculum.
Okay. I love the concept. How does my child qualify to attend your school?
We have what's called an academic assessment that every student has to go through when they come into Kieker's Academy. So while ideally, right, a teacher could manage 20 or 30 students, that's just not realistic. And part of the reason that's not realistic is because many of our children across our nation, not just here in Rockford where we live, right outside of Chicago, but many of our children, especially the ones that look like us, they
Mm-hmm.
suffer from being illiterate, right? They're financially illiterate, they're literally illiterate, right? They have math illiteracy. So all of our students have to take an academic assessment when they come into Kieker's Academy. And that assessment lets us know where they are academically. So a
Mm-hmm.
student comes into Kieker's Academy, and we don't assume that just because a child is in 5th grade, that they're reading at a 5th grade level. We
Right.
don't assume that just because a child is a freshman in high school, that that student is ready for algebra, right? So they take this academic assessment, and this assessment lets us know where that child is academically. And then our curriculum is tailor made specifically for that student. And now
Okay.
our curriculum either help build your child up or put your child in a position where he or she can excel,
Okay.
finishing 1 year.
We have a good understanding of how the school actually performs now. When it's time, if they choose to go to college, when it's time to do so, are they now? So, what I love about this model is that you're also teaching like the stuff that school didn't teach us, right? The important stuff that will actually stick with us. Okay. Now, we know that you also have to, if they choose to go to college, there's standardized testing that have to be taken and all that stuff. Are they prepared for that to go through testing? And is that a requirement coming from your curriculum and the way that you teach, going off if they choose to go to college?
Standardized testing in the early ages, no.
Like
Um,
SAT, ACT, things like that.
absolutely. SAT is something that we start to prepare our students for as early as 6th grade, right? So again, going back to my own child, she's 12 years old and she's currently taking an SAT class to prepare her to take the SAT later on this year, June, July-ish, whenever it's going to be, whenever it's given. So the plan and the goal is, if a child is, and we start preparing them for the SAT, ACT at 12 years old, right? We're not going to wait until they're a sophomore, junior in high school. Two reasons we do that. One is, if if you're if you start, the earlier you prepare for it, the more time you have to get better at taking it, test taking, being able to read those passages in a quick amount of time. And then the second reason we do that is because um, students can get funding or scholarship money to go to college the better they do on the ACT and the SAT. And then you put some black girl, black boy magic on that, and now they have even more money being thrown at them just because you got a certain score on the SAT. So yes, we
Mm.
are preparing our students for the SAT and the ACT because we want them to have the opportunity to go to college for free if that's what they want to do.
Got it. Got it.
Love it.
Um,
All right.
so I gotta okay, so we know that this model works. Like I'm sure you've graduated some kids from high school. They went on to college.
Not
We have
yet.
not
Not yet.
graduated
This is
anybody
this
yet.
is only our 3rd year in existence. Our first graduates won't graduate for another year or
2 years,
2 years, I
technically,
think.
from
2
now.
years.
Got it. Got it. But they're on track. They're testing at
Absolutely.
levels, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we know that this model works. What is the issue that you're having?
Hmm.
So
Okay, you
so
go.
you talked earlier. I think that at least where we are physically, right, our physical location, where the brick and mortar school is, I think one of our biggest issues is um, our community is buying into it. Our community sees the value in it, but our community doesn't have the money to pay for it, right? And I think that that's one of our biggest issues right here locally. Um, and so
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I think that our community not having the funding, not having the money to be able to pay for tuition is one of our biggest struggles right now, right? So getting families to pay tuition, getting families to pay tuition on time, right? That's one of our biggest struggles right now.
How
And
much is tuition?
Before the discount, did you get it before the discount and
before
after?
the discount, because we try to discount as much as we can so people will pay it. High school is 12,000 a year, middle school is 10,000 a year, and elementary is 8,000 a year. Now, what people actually
12,000, 10,000, and then
and eight
8,000 a year. Okay.
um now what people actually pay is, it falls well under that. And I think part of that is, I don't know if that's on Henry or if that's on me or between the two of us, but for me personally, I looked at it like, if it's too much, then people won't pay it. Then we'll just have we won't have a school. Um, and I'm learning and realizing that if it's not enough, then now I'm finding myself coming out of my own pocket to make sure that the school is functioning and running, and that shouldn't be the case. And so we're stuck between this rock and this hard place of wanting the school to be affordable, but also having it cost enough because it's so valuable. And where we are, education is education is value, but we don't live in the most educated city. Just being honest about it, right? Forbes magazine put some things out there about our city that speaks to the education level, that speaks to the level of unemployment of Black people in particular in our city. So those things, I think, I got you. Those kinds of factors play a part in people paying tuition.
Can I add this
Outside
to?
of tuition, real quick, outside of tuition payments, because I want to make sure we have enough time to get to your questions. Outside of tuition payments, how else is the school funded?
There's fundraisers. We do monthly fundraisers every month, right? There's sponsors, there's donors. We have title funding because we're a registered school, so we get title funding. We get all the different grant opportunities. I guess all the regular ways you would think. The only thing that we don't have right now that we won't have till next year is we're registered through the state of Illinois, but we won't have an actual sports team until next year. So we don't get the money that schools make off of sports, which is also a big one, and we won't have that until next year.
You were gonna say something before Donnie asked that question.
Yes. So I was just going to make it a little bit more clear because me and Marquell Russell had this conversation when we were talking about bringing the school to Atlanta. In Atlanta, because you have a bigger population and because you have a bigger class of people that will respond to this, we could charge the actual prices that we're charging and it would be okay, right? We could hit those actual numbers. The city we live in has the highest unemployment rate, in particular for Black people in the country, right? And then what she mentioned about Forbes said that the city has the third worst educational system in America behind Stockton, California, and one other city that's down south. So it's very uneducated, but it's very poor too. The cost of living is low. So what we run into virtually people can afford it, right? In other places that come from big cities, they can afford it. In the actual city that we're at, because the cost of living is so low and the jobs and the average wages and all that is so low that we have to do a lot of discounting of tuition, or we have to offer financial assistance, scholarships, lots of incentives because the price point is just too high for the city that we're in.
And what's the discount?
We usually discount if they qualify. There's a scholarship through a 501c3 in our state that's called Empower Illinois, and Empower Illinois will pay the tuition up to a certain amount if it's fundraised. So if they qualify for that, we'll discount them like 70%, right? So then it'll go from maybe 10,000 to like 3,000 or 4,000 or 4,500 that they have to pay. And that's for this year. The model changed already for next year because we already suffered. So we changed the model for next year after we met with Marquell, but we got to ride this year out the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So in terms of, I was looking at the Instagram and there's one word that I want you guys to maybe adopt or think about when you're building the business, or I'll use it as business, but because it's nonprofit. But cool. The school doesn't look cool to me. Like we have to, like you got to display cool, and there is a need, not just I can help your child, but there is a greater mission at hand. So outside of your traditional fundraisers, you probably need to start waving a flag and pushing up on all these people that's talking about they got some money. Like really, you really need to be the person when somebody's like, yo, I could teach you how to make $10,000 in a day because I just made 10,000. I need to be embarrassed to say that around you because you're the person that's saying, yo, but what have you poured into the schools? I know all these digital marketers are making all this money, but how much are you pouring into the next generation? That needs to be the conversation. That needs to be the conversation. You have to put so much pressure on all these digital marketers and all these people that's talking about they're making all this money online. You need to be the police. You really need to be the police that says, whoa, 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 whoa. But these kids need to learn how to do that. Yo, start partnering with Marquell. You need to tell me, like, yo, I just put myself in a...
I will do it.
But for X amount of dollars, can you give a percentage to help a kid go to? A kid can graduate, go to high school for $12,000, and enough people put up money. If enough people put up money, we can have a whole elementary school class, or a whole middle school class, or a whole high school class. But there needs to be a number that we're shooting for every year. Is there a number?
There is. I don't have it memorized, but we have a school board. There's a whole team. We have an operating budget and everything.
Yeah, but if
So
if if you don't know the number, neither do I.
got you.
I need to know your number. Donnie needs to know your number. Marquel needs to know your number. My boy Neil David, he needs to know your number. The news needs to know your number. There needs to say, oh, we're raising $250,000 to bring X amount of kids to school. These white schools, they need to know your number. We need to go to the other side of town. They need to know your number. You need to put up like T-shirts and say, yo, we need 250. When we get to 200, when we need 200 left, we're going to bring up all new T-shirts. They're going to say 200 left, 150 left, 100 left.
Dope.
We had it needs to be so cool to be involved. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Hold on. I had to. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And this is not the first time we've heard that. So my question for you is, what would make you, or can you give us the advice then that would make you or Donnie and Marquel and all these other people, why would you donate to the cause for a school that's here in Illinois that, yes, your child could go here virtually, but what are you getting out of it as someone who's investing in, you get the intangible of investing in some kids, but why these kids here in Rockford, Illinois?
Because it's the only mission. Because it's the only mission in front of our face.
Yeah.
Yo, do you know how many? I'm sorry, Donnie. Do you know how many people donated to Ron Clark Academy?
Mm-hmm.
From all over. They're just loud enough. So I'm saying anybody that you're connected to, like you're in some masterminds, you're in these circles. There needs to be a campaign. We're running ads to get kids in our school. We need to run an ad about this mission. We need to shoot a video or a commercial about this mission. You need to print up 3,000 T-shirts and get people to buy the T-shirt because it supports the school.
Gotcha.
And now it's cool because I got a T-shirt now.
Right.
I supported. Did you?
Right.
Makes sense. Gotcha. Go ahead, Donnie. I'm sorry.
Well, what I was also going to suggest is that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially, so we're living in a time right now where private school is no longer, where private school who offers education about entrepreneurship is not a luxury. It's a necessity, right? So we are living in a time right now where you have a large group of people who are making money just like us, who also are parents and concerned about the opportunities that are available. We want our children to do something different in terms of school. They need schooling for so many reasons outside of the academics, for social building and, just lifestyle and character building. But now, when you look in other communities, especially white communities, but others, right? Asian communities, white communities, always a core value that they believe in. And it leads to the way they spend their money, the charitable donations that they make. There's always this gala that's been happening for 50 years, 100 years, where people are ready to auction off, valuables for any amount of dollars to keep this establishment or organization operating. And right now, the beautiful thing about what's going on is that there's a large pool of entrepreneurs who look just like you and me, that are in the same age group or younger and older, both ways, that are looking for charitable organizations to give to. So not only do you need to make the mission look cool, because that's the thing that you want to do, but you also need to set your organization up on a level that catapults you higher than any other investment choice that we would make in terms of a charitable donation, right? This needs to be the premium type of donation that we can make as entrepreneurs to keep this school built. in order, or to keep the school going. And in order to do that, so you're concerned about, well, why would you donate here to Illinois when you live in Atlanta or California or anywhere else? I would recommend that you, every single year, maybe twice a year, but definitely every single year, you put something together where there's some big gala that you fly your committee out to, you fly your sponsors out to, and you have a business plan that you are presenting every single year that shows, hey, this is where we were at the top of this year. This is how we finished. This is where your sponsorship dollars have gone. This is where your sponsorship dollars are taking us next year and in the next 5 years, and show us that this, with our donations, with our contribution, this might not be in time for your kids, but this might be in time for your kids, and we can grow and we can expand into other areas, right? So that's one thing. Then yes, we want the merch. We want to make it look really, really great. I also looked at the Instagram page. We want to put some really high quality content out there, right? Some really, really high quality content.
Hold on, real quick, Dottie. What type of mic are y'all using? Because we muted both of ours, and we can't seem to. Are y'all using a microphone or something?
No, I unplugged it. I have my tablet set up in the classroom downstairs.
Okay, so there's no other device plugged in or anything like that. It's just straight coming out of the.
Yeah, it's just coming straight out of the tablet.
Okay, cool. I don't know where that sound is coming from because I muted mine. Dottie muted hers. Okay.
Yeah, you have to figure out a way to create hype. What is the hype around Kiekefer's Academy? We've got to create hype. So you saw like the Ron Clark Academy. It was a really genius idea. It's in Southwest Atlanta, and we've got this Caucasian gentleman. I don't know that it matters or doesn't matter, but we've got this Caucasian gentleman who essentially is trying to do what you do, bring a unique, fun, hands-on experience to learning for our Black youth. And now we have this Black husband and wife who's looking to do the very same thing. And this concept is popular. You should know David and I have discussed a similar, right, concept. So this is a concept that people are ready for. They are gravitating to. You have to make it cool. If I go to your page right now, it looks like very traditional learning. It looks like very traditional learning. How does Kiekefer's Academy stand out? How is it different? How is not only the curriculum different and elite, how is the experience different and elite, right? Do you do any type of annual gala, like sponsorship, fundraising, like in-person, head-to-toe gala so far?
We have one planned for June 4th, and we had one planned before, but COVID happened. And so COVID wiped out our chance to be able to do that. So this will be the first year that we get to do it. And it's planned for June 4th. We have a brother who's a coach that's nearly a billionaire. His name is Antonio T. Smith Jr. He's coming down as the keynote. And then there's an award ceremony, silent auction, what else? A presentation, and then, like the dinner portion and all of that. So I kind of bit off what I saw at the alumni dinner.
Yeah.
What you should do, at that is also showcase. So you gave some amazing testimonials of what some of the kids have been able to accomplish through your school. Those kids need to be speakers, right? You want to get people writing checks. Those children need to present and talk about their experience and their story. And every single year, especially as they matriculate through to other programs and maybe go off to college, you need to bring them back. Who's the oldest that's doing the greatest, who's been with you the longest, who's the youngest? Identify these different groups and get them, and they speak. And children get checks cut.
Right.
Absolutely.
I got a question too. You said every kid is required to start a business?
Yes, sir.
And how many students have y'all had this year?
What do we have?
About 50
students or so. And that's with the matriculation of students coming in and out.
Gotcha. So, and all of them pretty much started a business?
Except for the only ones who don't have like what you would consider like an official type business is like the kindergartners. So for like the kindergartners, we do different things to get them in the mode. So for example, kindergartners will purchase like a blank puzzle, and they'll get it for $0.25. They'll customize it and then they'll sell it for $1 because we're trying to get them immersed in the culture, right? Mm-hmm. So that may be their business in kindergarten because they don't quite have a concept of money. They can't add on their own. They can't subtract. So it's getting them immersed in the culture. So for like the kindergartners who maybe can't even read yet, right? The kindergarten class is special on its own because they're at that age where we have to kind of groom them differently. If the parents involve the kindergartners in something that's different, but for the most part, we do a lot of those different type of activities where they can go make money, they can make real money and get the idea of it. But like I said, if they don't know, what you know in kindergarten, or you know in kindergarten. So that would be the only exception to the rule.
Got it.
All of our students actually start a small business because all of them have to become a published author. So all of our students publish a book. So we're in the middle of February. All of their books will be published late February, first week in March. So we spend the last quarter of the school year promoting and marketing their book. So part of their entrepreneurship class is learning how to market themselves or their book that they wrote. So they're entrepreneurs just from writing a book. They make sales from those books. We do pop-up shops here in our local town where we invite the community out to buy their books. They use their social media. Some of our students have even had the opportunity to be guest speakers of their own at other local schools
or libraries across the country,
or libraries across the country, because they have written books and now they have something to speak about. So all of them are entrepreneurs and start a business just from writing a book.
Okay. I got to, so let's say an eighth grader, what do they do with the money?
That's where the financial literacy. So I didn't mention this. One of the things we do to kind of enrich in the curriculum is that we bring in guest speakers. We try to average like twice a week, right? Mondays and Fridays. And so we'll bring in everybody from like a Marquell, a Donahue Baker, Kendall Flickland's coming out here.
Hold on, real quick. What do they do with the money?
It's their money. So we educate them on it, but it's their money,
okay.
Right? So that's between them and their parents, and we give financial literacy. But it's still
okay. I got it. I would kind of change that model, me personally. What I would do is I would teach to have two buckets of the money. And what I'm about to say will help them make more money than they will just selling the product or service. If this book that they create helps them stay in school another year, they'll sell a whole lot more books. Because if we're selling a book for, let's say, $10 and 5 of it goes to tuition, you'll sell 20 times more books. We'll have the money for tuition, and then we'll have money to do whatever we want to do with it. But now we're arming the kids with a story. It's not just buy my book and support my book. It's keep me in school. Keep me in school. Right? So we have just how you guys are going to have a number, and you guys are going to go out and say, yo, we are raising $500,000 this year because this accounts for X amount of kids. And when you go raise that money, that gives you a skill set. You too personally, it gives you a skill set to come teach the kids. This is how we do it. Our objective is keeping you all in school. This is how we sold it. This was the message. I have a pipeline of radio stations and podcasts that will let you join just to sell because we're keeping you in school. Make sense? We're not waiting on the government to provide me free lunch. We are putting ourselves through school, and I wind up going to college, and I put myself through college because I don't need y'all student loans. This is what we do. I've been doing it since a kid. And if you get that story, I mean, off the testimonials, like kids that are keeping themselves in school will help bring way more students into your, because I can imagine, I've done programs with kids as entrepreneurs. They start, they're excited, they'll make a couple of sales, take the money, spend it on candy, and then it's over.
Absolutely.
I know the game. I've been there, wrote the book, taught the class, literally. But when there's a constant mission, and we got like the little temperature thing on the wall, like how much is okay, class, we are all collectively at $20,000. We all got to get to 50. How are we going to help each other? Y'all need to go out 2 by 2 and start giving them marketing plans. So not just having a speaker come speak and inspire, but to help them execute the plan that they already have.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
that's how we make this school cool.
Gotcha.
And that's how you get somebody like me to want to be involved. Believe it or not, people love taking credit for other people's success. There's going to be some people that mentor the kids, not because they want to mentor kids, but because they want to say, look, I took this kid from here to here. I helped this kid make $30,000 or $40,000. That's a marketing play for a lot of these digital marketers.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
one, you guys got to start with a number and come up with a creative marketing strategy. I would definitely go with apparel. I would definitely go knocking on doors. I would go into other schools and say, yo, I'm just here to tour our kids to see what y'all students get, because we ain't got that. Put that on the gram. That's the stuff that goes viral. You see, these are called MacBooks. We don't have those. This comes from the government. They don't give us money. You need to go get your own MacBook. Put that on Instagram. That's the stuff that goes viral.
I love
Does
that.
this make sense? But it's going to start with you two being creative as entrepreneurs to impart this into the students, because you're not going to be able to teach it unless you really get, like, you sit down and say, all right, this is the marketing strategy. This is the goal, and we hit the goal. And your testimonial of hitting the goal inspires the kids.
Got you.
Cool. Donnie?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the idea of there being a purpose behind, not necessarily even a purpose behind starting a business or writing the book. I love the idea of you having a school that teaches entrepreneurship, but it's a goal-driven curriculum. And I might change and shift the language to that. Because remember, I am still coming from a place of, we know we don't like the traditional school system, right? We don't like the traditional school system. Let's write a list of all the things that we don't like about the about the traditional school system, and let's be the total opposite of that, right? Let's be the total opposite. Right now, the traditional school system, the number one goal that they have everyone working toward is to go to college so that they can become employable. Let's be a goal-driven organization or institution where things are different. So I'm seeing a lot of like traditional classroom settings. Let's do something a little different there. And I understand that you have to start where you are and you're growing, but maybe you guys can start with creating a goal. Like, okay, so going into this next school year, our goal is to change the look, the aesthetic appeal from traditional wooden desk school systems to labs. Maybe we've got computer labs, or maybe we've got desks that look modern. Maybe we're giving them a taste. Maybe we've got mock labs where we can go in and it's kind of like green screen where we can change the theme of it and we're introducing a different level of life. Maybe our field trips aren't to the petting zoo, but maybe our field trips are to multi-million-dollar real estate properties and things like that. Maybe our field trips are to entrepreneurs in the area or in other states that are that have traditional offices, and they're coming to the e-complexes and other places like that where they get to spend a couple of hours with a Dave or a Donnie. And maybe you are asking for sponsorships and contributions from those entrepreneurs in order to make that happen. I want you to be so sexy in your appeal, so different, so elite in your appeal, so cutting edge, that nothing about your school, nothing about your academy feels like school. Then I want to invest. I want to invest in something that's exclusive. I want to invest in something that's different. You tell me that I can send my child to an academy that is goal-based, is focused on career goals of the individual student. The goal is for them to start a business and write a book. In this, we're teaching financial responsibility. Maybe we're going to teach them the profit first model, where we're putting back into our tuition, we're putting back into ourselves, we're saving for something, and we're helping to guide kids based on goals, utilizing an elite curriculum that builds students or develops students for entrepreneurship and real life experience.
Absolutely.
That was your whole tag right there.
I want. Hold on, real quick. We gotta do a quick commercial break. We're gonna come right back. We gotta send a shout out to Miss West Creative for the super sticker. We appreciate the love for the $50 sticker. That's lit. The Her Brand, the $10 sticker. We appreciate that. That is love. We got another super chat for $19.99. The Marketing Midwife. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. JT, coin rings. Good luck on the $199. We appreciate that, family. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You gotta give a shout out. You got to give a shout out to your sponsors. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Tell me. Go for it. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh yeah. I just want to make sure I'm following correctly, right? So before we got deleted, last year our school got invited to Tulsa, Oklahoma for the 100th anniversary of Black Wall Street, right? They featured our school as like the future of Black entrepreneurship. So we had like video footage, pictures, all kind of stuff. Like we were in Tulsa. We took like 20 students to Tulsa for like 5 days. So we had all this footage. It was great. Of course, it got deleted, and I got some of it, but I don't. But are you saying then to make it like how Donnie said, to make it really sexy, like those are the areas we should focus on? Focus on like we just did a trip with the state representative and two black-owned businesses was our field trip a couple days ago. And that should be more of our focus than maybe getting the stuff like where the students are in school, doing whatever they're doing in school. Like those type of things are what you're saying.
Well, here's the thing. It's not like isolated pieces of content. It's not isolated events like, oh, I went to Tulsa or I did this. It is all of the things that happen on the way to the goal.
Mm-hmm.
All of our if we don't have a goal, then none of this works. But there needs to be a big number that we're running towards, and all of this stuff needs to support the goal. Make sense?
Gotcha.
Because the pictures and the video from you going to Tulsa or doing whatever special events we're going to do, we're going to care about it today, but tomorrow we're on to something else. But the goal doesn't change. And it's all this stuff on the way to the goal, and that's every day because we're going to the goal every single day. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Go for it, Donnie. I'm sorry.
No, I totally agree with you. I was sitting here and I was remembering when I was in middle school, those commercials for children who were from third world countries used to come on TV all the time. And I used to take my allowance money that my parents would give me and I would send the money. I sponsored a kid. And I did this for years, right? I sponsored a kid. I did this for years. And then when I got in high school, I met a pen pal and we were able to connect in other countries and I did it again. And I'm just also thinking about like, instead of just random contributions and sponsorships and large donations, I know like one of the things that were very impactful, life-changing, in fact, for me and even for David, when you think about business principle is really all the same. And one of the strongest things that I have all my clients execute some type of recurring revenue model, right? And I'm pulling here to see what's the recurring revenue model at Kiefer's Academy. And it can even be something where maybe someone can't give a $10,000 donation, but do you want to be a member for something, or do you want to make a recurring donation of $25 a month, $10 a month? And then when you look at it, you've got all these people from all over the world, thousands of people who are contributing on this monthly subscription. Maybe in return, you send out a newsletter, like some kind. I used to get an update of my student that I was sponsoring as a kid, and I would get an update of how they performed in school and all this stuff. So maybe in return, like this is just a philanthropic effort that I want to do. I would personally happily give my credit card where I was giving $25 a month, and monthly I received, or quarterly I received a newsletter from you guys letting you know, hey, this is what we're being featured in this year. We're being invited to Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is how our kids perform. Here's how we're set apart nationally. Here's our speaker that's coming in. Here's the newest book that's been released. I will absolutely put my credit card on file. You need a recurring revenue model.
Donnie, you're a genius.
I like that. I got an idea for that too.
Just had that conversation. That was one of the questions I wrote down to ask you. We just had that conversation earlier today. I was like, I'm gonna ask Donnie because that's genius. That's genius.
Yeah.
I got an idea for it too, Donnie.
Okay. Is this an online or offline idea?
Yes, it's the
Go
sauce.
ahead, Dave. Spill the juice.
So, I think do the kids, I'm sure, like the kids, is there like some sort of book club where they're, reading books or whatever?
Yes, they read all the time.
Okay, cool. I would probably implement so that we're getting something back. If a kid was like, I'm gonna read a book every month and give you a book report at the end of the month, I would pay a monthly recurring revenue. I would pay a monthly fee for the kid that I'm sponsoring giving me a book report. Right? So one kid can have 100 people like, yo, this is the book that I read. This is what I took from it, and this is what I got from it. It don't got to be super long books. It could be kind of Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's not super long, or depending on the level that they're at. Who moved my cheese? Here's my book report, right? But because now that I'm getting something, and we send the same video, and that teaches the kid to work. Like, you got to sit here and do this book report and tell them what you learned, but you got to read the book now. So it just kind of creates a cycle. You feel me?
Yeah.
Now I'm now forcing this child to read because I'm paying you to read, right? And then the kid actually has to read and understand the book, and it's just a dope cycle. And that's the kind of stuff that I think of in terms of like how to make it stand out and give people more than one reason to support.
Yeah. If I promise you, if you immediately go and incorporate this recurring revenue model, it's going to change your lives. It's going to change those kids' lives. It's going to change the trajectory of where Kikafers Academy is going.
Absolutely.
Period.
I love it.
And I would even suggest changing the name to Kikafers Academy for Entrepreneurship. Just be clear in what you are, because otherwise, right now, you're just a normal academy. Stand out and call out your niche market, which are kids who are future business leaders of America. You're the real FBLA, okay? You're the real FBLA. Call out your niche, which are the future business leaders of the world and future entrepreneurs. And you are appealing to this large, what do we have? Millennials, Generation Z, and what's the other group that's out right now? Whoever they are, you're appealing to us as parents who want our children to follow in our footsteps of pursuing dreams on their own terms. Put us all on a recurring revenue model. Send me the link. I'm ready to sign up.
That's what's up.
Ma'am.
That's what's up.
I'm excited if y'all are excited. If you're excited. So what I like, just like, kind of what I like to know, and maybe not today, but reach out to us and let us know what that number is. What is the thing that we're shooting towards? And you just guys spend time figuring that out, and you all coming up with a plan to get it done, because I think that's going to inspire the kids.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
man.
And remember, whatever it is that you're doing, like, we're living in the day and age of the content creator, period. I don't care what business model you're in. The best content creator wins right now, every single time. So I would absolutely invest in, or be developing maybe a photography and videography department in the school. And part of their role is to capture content for the school. And so that you don't have to necessarily pay staff for that, but you're also honing in on their skills. But keep this in mind. The best content creator wins. The reason that Ron Clark's Academy is doing what his academy is doing is because he understood early on what it meant to produce content. Him roaming through the halls, dancing with the students, dressing up with the students, high-fiving the kids, being real down to earth. That's just content creation. Very clear, very high-level images. The best content creator wins, and the recurring subscription model keeps the money coming in, and you need both.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah. Somebody said, how can we donate to the school? How can they donate to the school?
They can go to the school's website, www. All right, here we go, Dave. KIKIFERS academy.org. And there's a donate button right there. They can donate directly on the website. That's the quickest and easiest way.
Yeah.
Academy.org, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Strongly consider adding entrepreneurship to that name, because otherwise, just at a brief glance, it doesn't stand out at all.
Got you. I like that.
Okay. And if when you do that, make sure it's never again Kiefer's Academy. It's either Kiefer's Entrepreneurship Academy or Kiefer's Entrepreneurship Academy for Entrepreneurship grades K through 12. And it's everywhere. So I'm clear, this is not for adults. This is a children's academy or a youth academy. It's for entrepreneurs. It's for the pathway of it. We're creating a pathway to entrepreneurship, ages K through 12. It needs to be stated. What do you guys do? Oh, we are the founders and directors of Kiefer's Academy for Entrepreneurship, grades K through 12. All the time, it's a complete sentence.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's fun.
Tell me this. What is your biggest takeaway? First of all, did you get what you came for tonight?
I personally love it. I ain't gonna lie to you. This just the ideas about the school is almost to the effect of having a crystal clear message. And I think this coaching session for me kind of made clear some things that I had in my head, but I couldn't articulate them, and I couldn't execute because I couldn't articulate. I knew there was a move that had to be made, but I'm racking my brain trying to figure it out. And I think that you all have gave us some clear and concise instructions that can definitely elevate and get it to that next level where it needs to be at. So I loved it. You guys are, sometimes
No. I can't let you slide on a very generic answer.
Okay.
Be specific with me. Give me a takeaway. Give me a takeaway from our conversation tonight.
So the subscription model and the content creation to me is huge. The book piece that Dave gave about the books, those ideas are so fresh and unique to what we're doing. It's like a shot of energy into what we're doing. So in particular, the subscription model, the content creation, making it look cool, getting those different perspectives, and then what Dave said about the book report, and the analogy you gave about sending the money to sponsor a child, that is like missing pieces to a puzzle we've been looking at for forever. So I thank you all for that. That is dope.
Dave, I heard the hand clap in the background.
It ain't official until we hear from Kiki, though. You know what I mean?
Kiki, are you with us?
So I took away from hearing Dave and hearing you, Donnie, say that you would be willing to donate to the school, right? So I asked the question that I asked because we've heard from other people that we can't really promote the school to people outside of Illinois, because why would somebody want to donate to your school in Rockford, Illinois? But to hear you say, Donnie, that you're ready to open your checkbook and then lay out the pathway to get there. So you're not just going to open the credit card, is what you said, actually. I have to create some sort of monthly subscription. I got to give you a reason, but you're willing to donate. So that's encouraging.
But real quick, remember, people aren't going to donate to your school. People are going to donate to the mission.
Yes.
That's why, they put people weren't donating to, they weren't like for $1 a day you can help. They're not donating. They're not sending money to Africa.
Right.
They put that picture of the kids in Africa and saying, yo, you just 30 cents a day or whatever it was, you can help this global mission. Right? So just as long as when you want people to donate, you're not asking them to support the school or support a child. You want them to go after this big mission. It needs to be like, you have to take the information that Forbes put about your city. That's your biggest strength. People put money to solve problems. Yo, they're saying we're the number 3 poorest city in the country. But why is the number 3 always going to be black? I bet number 1 and 2 is black too. What are we going to do about this problem? Not my school, not my city. What are we doing about this problem?
Yeah.
Make sense? So when I When y'all talk to me and I could feel that, when I feel that, that's when we open up the checkbook. When I feel
Yeah.
something off what I need to support this mission. Now with the school, I don't feel anything. It's like, yo, we should. I'm glad that the kids, I'm glad y'all teaching kids the entrepreneurship and we're going through the curriculum and all that. I'm cool. I just don't feel anything yet.
Gotcha. Connect to the human side. Gotcha.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
People
for
want
me,
to be
just
part of
hearing
something.
hearing that is encouraging. To know
Yeah.
that there's people out there that if I touch them, they're willing to donate. That's
Yeah.
that's what encouraging, and that's what I took away from this conversation.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
What's your first action step? What do we do? What do we do right after this? We're wrapping up. What do we do right after this? What's our
Right
very
after,
first order of business?
So our students' books are about to come out. So the first action is to set up a system where their book sales help. I'm gonna have to go watch the video again. But what Dave was talking about, right? So their book sales, part of it has to go directly towards their tuition. So putting those books in their hands and empowering them to understand that in order for you to stay in school, you need to push this book, right? So Henry talked about taking the drugs out their hand and putting a book in it. Go sell these books so that you can stay in school. So that's my first action item, is to set up the system so that our students are now generating revenue and put money back into the school from their book sales.
I was gonna say go sell them to the drug dealers. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna set up that. I'm gonna set up that subscription model tonight, like tonight, because
You need to.
it's so simple. It's so
Yeah,
simple. I love it.
it's really, really simple. Just make sure that there's also accountability on your end. So I went to a gala. It was either at the top of this year or at the end of last year. I can't really remember. But it was for an organization that supports private schools and additional opportunities for these kids. And one of the things that they did for their sponsors was provided an accountability statement so people could see exactly how the funds were being used. So especially if there were any surplus of funds or things, they were talking about the new and unique opportunities that they were introducing these kids to. So that's something that you want to incorporate. What are the gives? What are the things that people are? What are your niche market is entrepreneurs, are entrepreneurs, and their parents are likely entrepreneurs or high level executives who don't want their children to have entry level jobs. What tickles their fancy? What do we want to see? Maybe send a survey out. Maybe start surveying some people. If you sent, if you invested in something like this or gave charitable donations to something like this, what would you want in return? What kind of progress or accountability do you want to see from the school or organization? And give it to them. The book report, the student of the month, this is what we did. This is where we're being featured. Here's where you can check us out. A newsletter about us. Give me something that I can feel. I just want to feel proud. I don't even care that I'm giving you the $25 recurring every single month. I give it to Netflix and Hulu, and I hardly turn on the TV. Give me something that makes me say, man, I feel really good about donating to this. Give me something that at the end of the year, when I'm looking at my finances and my budget and I spent money, you're not on my expense cut list. You are like, this is really easy. This is a simple thing to do. Create some good accountability measures that are valuable. Remember, you guys, nobody wants to feel like they're just giving back to traditional schoolship. They want to feel like, this is groundbreaking. This is really advanced. This is elite. And we're taking kids who are in a suffering community and really giving them a chance. And why am I in Atlanta or Miami and California donating to Illinois? Because it's not in Atlanta, Miami, or California. We're going to donate where it's happening at right now today.
There we have it. All right. Y'all good? Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
this was
good.
dope.
Oh, absolutely. Dope. This will be it'll be up on YouTube, so you can go back and look through it. We are really looking forward to hearing what you guys do with it, because I mean, I feel like you guys have something really, really, really big on your hands, and the world is really going to be impressed with what you do with it. So,
thanks so much. That means a lot.
You're very welcome.
While we got you guys on here, if you ever want to be a guest speaker at the school, the doors are wide open. Listen, we use sometimes for some of our classes, we use social proof podcasts. Like we'll have like the snippets or whatever, and we'll use it to like teach certain points. So if you guys would ever like to be guest speakers,
social proof podcast.
We would love to have you all as guest speakers. I ain't gonna put you on Front Street, live on YouTube.
No, you need to.
David love the kids.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We need to make that happen. Absolutely. Yes. We'll definitely make that happen. All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. And yeah, we out. We'll follow up with you. All right.
All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, no doubt.
Bye, guys. Yo, that was a dope.
We got a couple shout outs, man. We got a few. People really showed up tonight with the super chat.
Was lit. I couldn't even keep up with it.
Yeah, let me show you. Okay, first off, Alexander Bostic with the 50 piece. We appreciate you. Chicago Groomer Jazz, the pet stylist, 1999. We appreciate that. Hold on, let me just throw it up there because that's my boy Alex right there. Jazz is the pet stylist. We appreciate the super chat. Miss West, thank you. It's my girl right there for the super chat. Learn with Miss Naya. Super chat all the way up. I appreciate that. Her brand. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. The marketing midwife in the building. We got JT Coin Rings. Thank you so much for the super chat. And DAW Holdings, another super chat. Donnie.
Yo, I love tonight's episode. It's so in alignment with some future plans that you and I have going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one was really, really easy to help. And I think that we gave them some really strong value. It's always great when the work though is purposeful.
Yeah. 100%.
Always great when the work is purposeful.
100%.
I believe in their mission. I believe in what they're doing. And if they go ahead and create that subscription model, something that is in addition to major sponsorships, reasonable for the average everyday working American to say, I can be a part of that. Just make that an easy decision. It's going up.
I think it was a mic. Because I think we're good now.
It was some feedback coming in.
Yeah,
Henry and Key.
100%. They mic. Well, Dottie, man, we got some. Oh, first off, y'all been coming on the show and like through a Calendly link or whatever. Well, we actually have a website being built out and it is fire. So it should be up in a couple days. But right now you can go to brainpickerpodcast.com. Donnie, I think we should raise it $200 for the new website because it costs us a pretty penny for the $200 for the website. So I'm thinking of going to 32. What do you think? How you feel?
I have never raised anything in an increment of $200. I would have said $3,500, but
you don't scare me.
Like I would have said $3,500. I'm okay with 32 if that's what you want to do. Listen, Dave, I could charge $5,000.
This could be 10 grand. Yo, first off,
the level of value
yes,
that they give $1. Like it's not just here is what we think. Here is an actionable thing, and we hold you accountable. What's the action step? Like we hear and understand your business model. We give you our feedback based on things that we've actually done and things that we know that works. And we hold you accountable to taking the first step.
Yeah.
And if you take that step, you are going to win. Like, but at the same time, the reason that it's not $5,000 or $10,000 yet is because we want you to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. Like we do. We really do. If you didn't put any skin in the game financially, you wouldn't take this seriously. It would take you months or years to take an action step if you took an action step at all. So we wanted to make it, can I say painful enough? We wanted to make it painful enough. We wanted you to take this seriously enough that you weren't just showing up to be on a podcast and you were actually going to do the work, because we're more vested in the results that you send us back, the testimonials that you send us back on the back end.
Yeah. And it's really dope because like the people who actually get on the podcast are givers. Like, so they invested to help y'all in the chat. That's really, really cool. And I think, you know how we do like the social proof alumni? I think we need to have like maybe like a once a year gathering where we get everybody, just people that are on the podcast. We get together, maybe go to like, I don't know, go to another city or state or a country, and
Country.
we just get like, we go to Jamaica or something like that, and we just chop it up, bring the
Yes.
cameras out, see what people did with the information. That would be crazy.
It's done. We said it, so it has to happen.
There it is. There it is.
It has
All
to
right.
happen.
All right, y'all. We are out of here. We're recording tomorrow in Atlanta. But yo, book y'all spot right now, brainpickerpodcast.com. Even if the time isn't available for you, just book a time and we'll schedule it around your schedule. All right. Donnie, we out here.
We are out of here, you guys. Love you.
Peace.